everyone. Time chat if you can hear me. And yeah, back with another trade review. This morning was a pretty good morning. Started with one loss and then got 3 wins afterwards. Unfortunately, I could have made a lot more. Um, However, I got stopped out of my last trade. It was only a small position left, but it perfectly just kind of swept me and continued to run. If I held it for like 10 more seconds, I would have got like 100% gains on it. But regardless, it was still a pretty good morning, and we're going to discuss all the analysis that went into that. So we take a look at the pre-market analysis. We had this huge gap. So we gapped down overnight yesterday. Today's Monday. So market opened on Sunday much lower than where it closed on Friday, which creates a huge gap. And as you guys know, especially on the futures charts, ES and NQ, gaps fill. Okay. So I was coming in today with that going to be my bias, but I realized that no, it filled the gap already. With that being said, I don't really have anything else. I mean, I have this pivot. I mean, I have some major pivots on the chart, but they're all far. You know, got this one here. I've got these up here on NQ. This one here, and like some more down below. That's it. So I didn't really have too much pre-market bias. However, after the market open, I realized, this is a perfect double bottom right here at 6279.75. Okay. Now I'm gonna just hide this and I'm gonna mark this out. So we do have this, but it is 1 minute before market open. NQ is gonna break supply. There we go, broke supply, and I'll hide some of these indicators as well. There we go. Get a massive selling wick, and right now it's looking like bullish consolidation. And I don't believe I filled on this candle. I waited for one more oscillation. Let me check my channel just to be 100% sure, but yeah, definitely not. So it's looking like bullish consolidation at the moment. We fell. We got a huge buying wick on NQ. NQ looks like right here flips stronger with this buying wick. Another lower low and major buying wick. And this beautiful candle, I filled calls here on this candle. I filled QQQ calls, full size, right here, 79 cents. I'm looking for a new high of day. And hard stop loss. Roughly here. Let me see, was this the actual, nope, this was about right. This was pretty much the trade. I think I actually filled like right here, and my stop loss was just a little bit lower. 1-to-1 risk reward, pretty much. Solid trade setup. I mean, it is bullish consolidation. It is invalidating the pullback. This is the first trade, just general liquidity analysis, and unfortunately, NQ flipped weak. I stopped out. I stopped out pretty early. I was going to stop out on this candle, but it got a buying wick. So if the next candle opens red and validates even just most of this buying wick, I'm going to sell. And that's exactly what happened, and I did sell right away. Now, it did get a buying wick after, which means it could have gone back up. But I took a 21% loss. Our entry at 79 cents, closed it at 62 cents. And unfortunately, NQ flipped a lot weaker than ES. You can see that now ES is getting the last candle, NQ had a big red candle, ES had a small one. Now ES is getting a solid bull hammer, NQ's not. But it did sweep lower lows with buying. So at this point, I'm thinking, this is a bull pennant on ES. I'm going to have to hop right back into SPX calls is what I'm thinking. And honestly, I'm only one green candle away from doing that. But luckily, we dropped. Now, I do have a decent pivot right here on NQ at this demand break. But I can't enter just yet because I don't know if ES is still going to put in bullish consolidation. This is a pretty much a perfect trend line on ES, which you guys know how I feel about that. Perfect 3-point touch trend lines need to break. So, you know, I could enter puts here, but with ES also being within bullish consolidation still, and I'm one big green candle away from being triggered into calls, it's 250-50. But ideally, if ES didn't look like this, I would be entering QQQ puts on this candle. I end up entering QQQ puts halfway through the next candle. Because now, if ES invalidates this entire buying wick, well, that's certainly not a bull pennant, and very unlikely to be a bull flag too, because look how much of the move it would have invalidated. Bull flags don't invalidate 50% of the move, okay? And if they do, very rarely will they play out to the upside. Very rarely. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this buying wick to be invalidated, and immediately when that happens, I'm going to be triggered into QQQ puts. And it happened very fast. Right after I got into QQQ puts, it kept continuing through my PT. And there it is. So I filled those QQQ puts here, right around right here. First PT was this pivot, and then next PT was pretty much this one. But remember, I still have this perfect double bottom on ES that looks great to break. But you also have to keep in mind, look at the top right of my chart. Look how many demand zones there are. There are a lot of demand zones. We just bounced out of 6 demand zones. So I started trimming pretty heavy here. We were getting a lot of buying wicks. We went down even more, trimmed more. And by this point, I was only in runners. When this wick started forming, I was only in a couple of runners. But my puts got 100% gains. I entered at 75 cents. They got to like 155 for over 100%. My highest sell was pretty much at 100%. But I still had a small runner position left, and it did not end up coming back down. ES did not go to this perfect double bottom. So I end up closing the last bit at pretty much break even, maybe slightly under. So I averaged probably 80-ish% gains on this trade, which is great. You know, I'll take a 21% loss any day if I get 80% right afterwards. So very green on the day. That was a full-size trade, very clean. And you can see that, yes, ES did miss that perfect double bottom. And to this moment, I'm still bearish for that to break. Very bearish for that to break. But price action has to come back down. And as far as I know right now, it's all the way up here. But now, and I pretty much call it out on my channel, I'm about to be triggered into SPX calls. Look how much stronger ES is than NQ. Look at the, like, this is textbook reversal setup on NQ. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to hide supply and demand real quick. We get a buying wick on a pivot in a million demand zones. What do we get? Massive volume spike, the first indication of a reversal. Then we get another buying wick, an even heavier demand, and this buying wick makes a lower low and even more volume. It was very, very easy to trim my entire trade. It was very easy to see reversal coming. And with this setup, look how much stronger ES is than NQ. I am one green candle away from entering SPX calls at this point, and my PT will be new high of day. It's pretty much a very similar trade to what I took right here, just much more likely to play out. And that's pretty much what we did. During this next candle, in the last 10 seconds, I did fill. I got a little bit better of a fill than the end of the candle. But really what I was looking for was new high of day. You know, I was going to sell pretty much everything at new high of day. And that'll be that. And very easy. Boom, got there. Sold everything besides a single runner and stopped out of that runner just above break even. On this trade, it got up to 45% gains. I personally got 37% gains. So in recap, first trade minus 21%, second trade plus 100%, this trade plus almost 40%. And the last 2 trades went straight to PT. No interruptions whatsoever. Beautiful. Right when we started pulling back, this candle, bearish engulfing, sold my runner. However, it looked like NQ was actually flipping stronger. NQ is actually flipping stronger than ES at the moment. Now, if we came all the way back down to here, I would be getting into puts. And I'd be in that trade pretty heavy because that is a very, very likely trade to play out. And I'm okay taking a bigger loss in pursuit of that trade. But also NQ could be putting in a cup and handle. That's a beautiful buying wick. This is a very beautiful candle as well. And I did end up taking QQQ calls on this candle. NQ flipped stronger than ES, but this is my first light position size trade. So typically when I say half size, light, or full size, I went in light. So I entered roughly 1/3 of my normal size. And my PT was really not even high of day because that was too unlikely. It was really just this pivot But I went 1/3 size because if it explodes to the upside, I really want to be able to average up. I don't want to be in this trade full size though, because it is riskier and less likely than the last few trades. Hell, it's even a little bit less likely than the first trade, but still more likely than not. But I want room to average down or average up on the trade. So if we shoot to the upside, I'm averaging up and we will go to new high of day. Otherwise, I need a sweep of this low to average down, and that's what I got. Right here, right on this next candle during the buying week, I averaged down, and my average dropped from 58 cents to 47 cents. And now I am in roughly a 2/3 sized position. Now my stop loss got moved down to here. Now it's a very hard stop loss, very close. And on the way up, we were getting a bunch of selling wicks. We were getting a bunch of selling. This candle looked pretty good, but then we got this red candle. Then we got another green candle. Then it got another red candle. So I told you guys that, you know what? I'm going to sell most of this position. 2/3 of this position, actually, when it crosses over this pivot. Because you also got to keep in mind, ES is heading downwards. And my bias for this perfect double bottom right here to break, you can't see because demand's covering up. My bias for this line to break is much stronger than NQ to get to here, right? I want to be able to get into this trade, and I think it's far too likely to sweep this and come back down. And that's what happened. Trimmed most here. ES actually ended up flipping strong, but I did trim most. I also started getting the vibes that NQ was starting to flip weak on the 704 candle. And I ended up getting roughly, I think, 19% gains on this trade right here. And I had a little bit left. I stopped out of it a little bit, not here on the pullback. There's a big wick. Stopped out the rest here. Pretty just under break even. So I averaged roughly 17% gains on this trade. And this was easy for me to stop out because look at ES. I have to be able to get into SPX puts, you know? And we just swept a higher high here with a very bearish shooting star. But what's missing? We are missing volume. Now, you don't really need volume for a reversal, but it's a great confirmation to have. We don't have it, but we have a shooting star, we have increasing red volume, and we have this huge red candle. I have to be out of this trade because I need to get into SPX puts if we get one more even small red candle. But I got hornswoggled, and it shot right back up. So I left the alert open, told you guys on this candle, if you didn't sell yet, it looks fantastic. And as you can see, we just kind of went up and up and up. Now, I did send out the TA alert roughly when this happened. I said, if we get roughly to here, great trade to take. However, beware of the head and shoulders because that might stop you out. And that trade actually never triggered. So I'm still bearish for 6279.75 to break at some point soon, either today or tomorrow. But I wasn't able to trade it. And this next trade did end up clearing well over 100% gains. I think it got like 130 or something like that. And it's even up more now. But as far as what I can control, again, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't have sold there. But, we got the shooting star. We got the super bearish momentum candle. We had the perfect double bottom on ES below. ES looked like a beautiful, like very fractal head and shoulders at that point. Very easy to sell. Don't really have any regrets. If my psychology was perfect and I was presented with the exact same circumstances in the same chart, I would have done the same thing. So just unlucky is really all that is. But aside from that, yeah. So first trade was red. 3 back-to-back green trades in a row. And that was my morning. Very green morning. And even a lot more money to be made if you didn't get swept out of those QQQ calls. But I'm glad my sentiment, my hypothesis ended up playing out though. So that's nice. With that being said, does anyone have any questions regarding today's analysis or trades from this morning? And yeah, we are still running bull market. It looks like ES flipped stronger than NQ, but this is bullish consolidation here. We did recently just sweep these pivots. So the next set of pivots is here, and they are very likely to break. Around 23,050 on NQ looks great. looks great. This is a textbook bull flag as well. But let me check if anyone has any questions. Yeah, that's good, David. All right, well, sweet. No one has questions. So, like I said, I'm going to be working on those future strategies this week, which means we're already doing live options trading every morning. But we are also going to be doing live futures trading here soon. It's going to start back up within the next month, maybe 2. But before the end of the year, we'll be doing live futures trading as well again. Especially as Trade Arena starts finishing and starts sucking up all my time. We're going to have a lot more freedom to do stuff like that. So stay tuned. Until then, knock out your guys' path to success. Tomorrow, a lot of you guys should be able to start taking the quiz for the third leg to get the new name. You guys are going to rank up from novice trader to competent trader, which is awesome. And Turbulence, I was supposed to chill in VC late last night, but that car accident happened, so. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing that this week. All right, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post this recording. We have a lesson today after market close on chart patterns. Still a pretty noob lesson, but we got to build that foundation so we can grow upon it for this summer TA course. And yeah, if you continue trading, good luck. I hope this bull flag plays out for you if you are trying to be long for it. If you guys need anything, you know where to find me. Otherwise, I will see you guys later for today's lesson. Good luck. I'll see you guys later.